Greetings, Paranormal Addicts. I'm Montegraph, and welcome to the Beyond Natural. This week I'm bringing you the best of Case 4 highlights and evidence. Also, in a little bit, I'll have Glen Orwan answering some questions on the Ghost Box. Now, Case 4 came about because the homeowner had received potential paranormal reports from previous renters, including seeing shadows and the sensation of being touched. STPI was brought in to help substantiate the claims. Now, on a side note, I would like to mention STPI's investigation method, or the IM. Now, the IM is the who, what, and how you're going to investigate. STPI's method is based on reducing the potential for contamination. Now, contamination occurs by having too many people in a building or residence at once. STPI minimizes this by attempting to have only 3 investigators in the building at any time. Now, you can have more than 3, but each additional person increases the risk of doubt on potential experiences and evidence, as you will see when we cover Case 9. Now, the IM is a very important operations aspect that you need to determine when establishing a team. It impacts your team's investigation style and can influence other areas of how you operate. Now, back to Case 4. I mentioned before the claims our client had, and the eerie part is, just like in Case 3, the team got to experience all of them. Now, the first clip is with Destin and Mike. Let's check it out.
Maybe you're more comfortable talking to girls.
Sarah, she's coming in a minute.
Yeah, she's pretty polite.
The hair in my back of my neck just kind of felt like it moved. Was that the wind or was that you? Did somebody touch me in the back of the neck?
Awkward.
95, 94.
So that's pretty basic. Right now, is there anything on the back of my neck? Right here. My hairs are moving. Yeah, it felt just like this right here.
You're 89.
I'm not touching you. Destin got touched not once, not twice, but 4 times. The first touch happened as the camera moved from Destin to Mike. You see it because Destin touches his arm to his neck. Now, the second time is when Destin mentions being touched. Notice how he stiffens up a little bit. The third time is as Mike is investigating his temperature, and the 4th time when Destin says, "Right now, is there anything on the back of my neck?" Now, there were no cobwebs, no spiders, or anything hanging from the ceiling. Additionally, there was no heater on during this investigation. Our next clip is of Sarah with Greg on camera. Chris is in the home, but he's in the basement, separated from the group with his own camera. Check it out.
Did you just see that?
What was it?
I swear, I just saw a green light go diagonally across that room.
What was that? Okay. He's gonna walk around the house, see if anybody's in the front yard.
Okay. Okay, I just saw it again.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you have a flashlight on around there? Light up there too. Oh, I saw that light down there in the corner from his flashlight.
I saw that too, and that looked completely different.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I didn't see what you saw, but I could tell that was a flashlight.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, Sarah explained this as a green light sweeping through the room. Definitely eerie. Now notice how the team attempted to recreate the light that Sarah saw. Sarah's K2 meter also went off during recreation efforts. Mike found no one in front of the house, the flashlight in front of the window was not the source, and we are still not 100% sure what the light was. Now, we revisited this residence in Case 12, and we may be showing you a clip of the green light, but that's another episode. Now this last clip is of Sarah and Chris. Let's take a look.
There she is.
Do you guys hear that noise? Like, it sounded like something, like a chair or something moving around.
Kind of like a scraping noise.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? Well, let's check that out once more. We'll point out the sound for you.
What does it say?
There she is.
Do you guys hear that noise? Like, it sounded like something, like a chair or something moving around.
Kind of like a scraping noise.
Yeah.
Needless to say, bumps and noises were a definitive part of the evening. This wasn't the only time the team heard them during the investigation. And again, let me point out the only electronic item on in the house besides our equipment was the refrigerator. This did not have an ice maker and distinctly made a humming noise when it kicked on. Now we have some great evidence lined up for you, but now, the guest guru of the week. This week's guest guru is Glen Orwan, a paranormal investigator and UPI's Eastern Regional Director. Glen is a friendly guy who takes paranormal investigations seriously. I like him, and I think you will too. So welcome to the Beyond Natural, Glen. What's going on in your neck of the woods?
Nothing much. Always keeping busy. Something's always going on. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you. It's an awesome opportunity, and I know you're a busy guy. So to get started, how does the ghost box work?
Well, it pretty much works. The basic premise behind it, it's basically an AM/FM radio, or a lot of people make them out of shortwave. And it's a linear sweep, is what it is. In simplified words, you start at the beginning of the scale, and it works its way all the way up. And constantly, it's one linear sweep. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop on 94.1 or 97.6, whatever your local stations are. It just keeps on rolling. What's interesting about it all is that in between those sweeps, we ask questions or get into a conversation, and there's answers in that signal. A lot of people mistake some of the answers, of course there are radio break-ins, like, for example, one time I was doing it, there was a football game on one of the AM stations, and the word touchdown came out. And people were like, was that an answer? I was like, no, that's actually, a football game going on. It's not so much those signals. It's the signals in between the breaks and underneath the underlying signal itself. That's the theory behind it. The whole IPC concept, which actually stands for Instrumental Transcommunications, there's a lot of different theories on it. Half of the theories are, it could be, extraterrestrial signals we're getting. A lot of paranormal people believe that it's, we're talking to spirits or ghosts or however you want to classify it. But what's interesting on it, both sides of the equation actually agree that, something's coming through those signals. So that's what makes it really interesting.
I don't know if I would think aliens, but it's possible. Now, does the ghost box replace digital voice recorders?
No, not really. When you're running a ghost box, and that's pretty much what we call it on the paranormal side, if your recorder is too close to the ghost box, because it's a linear sweep, it's an AM or an FM signal, you'll actually hear that through your recorder. What you'll hear is a sound kind of like piano keys. It'll be like do 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 do, and it'll get faster and a little higher as you go in the increments of the station. So you don't want to have your recorder too close to the device, because that's what you'll get when you're recording, a bunch of keys, a bunch of signals that will actually break in. What I like to do when I do it, I actually use an external power mic, and I'll put the microphone by the box and take the recorder and actually put it a little further away. I mean, the longer the cord, the better as far as I'm concerned, and you'll actually get better recordings, but it doesn't really replace the digital recorder at all. It just enhances the investigation, if you ask me.
Okay, so keep those voice recorders away from the box. Got it. Now, speaking of what there is there a right way or wrong way to use that ghost box?
A lot of people use it in different call controllers. Basically, the way the system works is when I first started getting into the ghost box thing, quite a few years ago, it seemed like there was a voice that was actually coming through the box louder and clearer than the rest of them. And it was constant, and it's the same continuous voice. Well, some of us actually seem to get controllers. What a controller actually is, he pretty much sets the tone of the conversation. He's, if you want to call it a spirit guide, I guess you could. There's different, it seems, levels to it. You have controllers, then you have upper controllers. It seems like at times you'll have multiple people talking. I mean, I rolled back my recordings and I've had up to 22 people at one time talking. So it's hard to distinguish, but it seems like my controller, whose name is Chris, by the way, he kind of sets the tone for it. He's like your helper, your spirit guide, whatever you want to call it, in that effect. And it's interesting. I have recordings. I don't have any keyed up, unfortunately, right now, but I have recordings with other investigators where we actually have two-way conversations. We've actually gotten into arguments, cursing matches, which are on audio, and it's direct response. And some of the it seems like sometimes your controller matches your personality. Like if you're a lighthearted person, you like to make jokes and stuff like that. It seems like your controller matches that. I don't exactly know how that works, but it's interesting nonetheless. And there's other people who are in the industry who run Ghostbox who just run it. I mean, they ask questions, they get answers. So there's really, there's not too much of a right way or a wrong way to use it in that respect,
Sounds like quite an experience. I may have to get me one of those.
It's very interesting.
Now, speaking of the voices and such, is there such a thing as over-interpreting with the ghost box?
I think there is. A lot of people that I've noticed in the field, not a lot, but there are a few, seem to, what's the exact word how I can put this? They seem to replace all the science and the paranormal equipment and all just with a ghost box. And with some people, it becomes an obsession. There's a lot of people who believe what a ghost box is, and which is the mere term ghost box. It goes by many terms. The radio of the dead, the telephone of the dead, the demon box. There's many different terms for a ghost box. If we use a term like Frank's box, that can be classified any term as far as like what Frank Sumption actually made his particular box. Who is, an original in this industry. I mean, he's been doing this stuff for years. There's a Chris's box. There's a Mike's box. No, there's even a Glenn's box. I mean, so the word Frank's box, it's kind of like using the term diapers, or Pampers for every diaper there is.
Yeah.
So, there are people who can, they seem to get hooked on it, it's an answer to all their questions. And to tell you the truth, I don't think it is. I think it's just, it enhances, our tools as investigators.
So don't get lost in that message. Now, speaking of the variety of boxes available, how much would one of these bad boys cost?
Well, that all depends too. I mean, a lot of people these days are doing what they call hat shack models. It's basically generic radios that are bought at Radio Shack, or they can be bought. Some of them are coming from Walmart, some of them are coming from Target. I mean, they come from all different places, and people are pretty inventive. And what they do is they modify these radios to become ghost boxes. Of course, you can contact the original people. Some of the boxes out there, like from the original people in the film, are just beautiful. Wood cases, and I mean, just the sound quality is fantastic. And then others, like I said, you can get a hat shack, a Radio Shack, for probably about $32. It takes you about 15-20 minutes to convert it. You don't have to have a whole lot of technical skill to do it. Most of these schematics and drawings and stuff like that can be found online, YouTube and such. The one model, I think it's 6 screws to remove. You clip one pin, you put it back together, and boom, there it is. It's pretty much a portable ghost box for about $32. I've seen people, charge big money, for custom-made boxes. Of course, I mean, it only makes sense. a radio from nothing. You get all the parts, the wiring in your circuit boards, capacitors, the electronics. It just gets really involved. It can take months to build a custom box. So obviously, the more labor that's involved, they have to cover overhead, and they're going to charge more. But for a generic 10-cent ghost box, you'll pay anywhere really from $32, probably to $75 if you bought it out of the store.
Great. Well, I'm not much of a techie, so I don't know if I could build one, but I'm glad to know I can get one and keep my arm and leg.
Absolutely.
Well, that's all we have for questions. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, that was about it. It was great talking to you, though. And once again, thanks for having me on.
Nope, anytime. The pleasure was ours. Have a great night.
Oh,
hopefully we can have you back soon.
You too. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Much thanks to Glenn for sharing information about the ghost box. He definitely helped me understand a little bit more. Now, on to the evidence. This first evidence clip is of Destin and Mike. While they attempt to investigate and document Destin's touching experience, they caught 3 EVPs on their digital voice recorder. Check it out.
I'm not touching you.
85 in the chest. Top of the head's at 86 with the hat on.
Right now, is there anything on the back of my neck? Right here. My hairs are moving. It felt just like this right here.
89, 91, 90, 80. We're getting colder.
I'm getting mixed signals on this one. I mean, you touch me, then you ask me to leave. Make up your mind. Now, in this next EVP clip, Sarah and Chris are in the kitchen laundry room area. Something calls Sarah a not-so-nice name.
Yep, it's going off again. Yeah, there's definitely something going on.
What did you call her? How rude! Did you also catch the snickering afterwards? Now, no explanation for this one, except something obviously did not like Sarah and the voice sounds female. Now finally, we have one of those odd occurrences. Sarah and Chris are conducting their EVP session. Sarah says creepy twice, but we get something else in between her creepies. Take a listen.
Oh, does anybody else find the little handprint thing on the door really creepy? Creepy.
Now, let's take that same clip with audio from Chris's digital voice recorder, which is in his hand. Remember, he's standing right next to Sarah, so anything she says should be on his recorder too, right?
Hangers.
Oh, does anybody else find the little handprint thing on the door really creepy?
I think Chris's audio is missing a creepy. Awkward. Now the strange part is, when Sarah was asked about this, she only recalled stating creepy twice, and was shocked to hear the additional creepy on the audio. Also, the video's audio did not catch the additional creepy either. FYI, dead or alive, mucking is not nice. I think I have a creepy overload. That wraps up this week's episode. If you want to see more footage, remember to check out our website using the link below. Next week, we'll be talking with Marie Birdsong, Reiki Master and Assistant Director of Washington for UPI. Our topic, healing and spiritual counseling. I'll also be looking at Case 5 highlights and evidence. Till next week, keep it safe. Think you or someone you know is a guru and want to be interviewed for our show? Message us here on YouTube.
Now, in this week's episode, I realized something important. STPI's investigation method. Now, this is also called the IM. The IM is the who, what, and how you're going to investigate. STPI's method is based on reducing the potential for contamination. Contamination comes from having too many people in a building or residence at once. STPI minimizes this by attempting to have only 3 investigators in the building at any time. You can have more than 3, but each additional person increases the risk of down to potential experiences and evidence. As you will see when we come to the